Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TCCrew here, and welcome to part 22 of What If Deku Was a Saiyan. Just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so we begin. It was coming to the end of another school day. All of the students were getting excited for the up-and-coming school event. The school festival was one of the spectacles of the year, and it was rearing its giant head around the corner. There were plenty of discussions on what the students of Class 1A would do for their part of the festivities. They heard that Class 1A were planning on some type of play that used the premises from multiple different stories and yet called it original. Ideas were flying left and right as Aizawa retreated into his yellow cocoon. While Ida was trying to organize the ideas, Suyu was trapping Mineta in a duffel bag hanging upside down from the ceiling for trying to come up with a perverted idea. Kaminari joined in his antics with the idea of a maid cafe. The girl strongly objected. Midoriya suggested a hero quiz. Hagugare tried to get a fun house. Coming up with what to do was seeming like a success, however, no one could decide on just one of the ideas. Ida and Yayurozu did their best to control the class, but it seemed futile. The bell rang, which indicated the end of the class. The door slid open, and everyone's attention focused towards the tired teacher making his exit. Decide what you'll do by tomorrow morning, but if you don't... He half turned his head. His death glare sent chills down the students' spines. I'll make it a public lecture, he threatened. The class were now imagining what it would look like and agreed to come up with something so that Aizawa's dream of humiliating the class wouldn't come a reality. Hours later, and after much discussion, Todoroki brought up a video of a concert he saw online. He didn't specifically know the band or what was a concert, but he showed it to the class and everyone got behind the idea. As positions for the band were being filled, one question remained. Who would be the lead singer? Of course, many tried and failed until Uraraka asked Jiro why she isn't the one trying to be the lead singer. Jiro tried to deflect, but Hagugara persisted with Uraraka. Yayurozu created a makeshift microphone and stand. Jiro couldn't not sing, since everyone was waiting. Mineta was making snarky remarks at Jiro, as he was the one of the hopefuls who didn't get the spot of lead singer. Kurishima, however, supported Jiro, giving her some encouragement. She had never really sung to anyone but her parents, and the last time she sang was a few years ago. She put all her fears behind and sang a small melody. To say that the students weren't moved by her angelic voice was an understatement. As soon as she ended her song, everyone erupted with cheers. It was then agreed that Jiro would be the singer and bassist. Yayurozu was on the keyboard, Kaminari on lead guitar, Tokuyami on second guitar, Bakugo on the drums, while Mina would handle the performing and choreography side of the concert, and a small group of Sero, Todoroki, Kurishima, and Koda would take care of the effects. It was 1 a.m, so after all the incessant planning and chatting, Ida shouted at everyone to go to bed. Next morning, Mirio brought a surprise guest into the UA grounds. As everyone continued with their practice, the dance team was practicing outside. What they didn't notice was that someone was lurking in the bushes, spying on them. Looks like no one has noticed yet. Let's see, I'll make my appearance with a joke and make them laugh. The secretive person spoke until he was caught. Togata! Midoriya shouted and waved towards his upperclassmen. Mirio was not amused that he was caught. Midoriya glanced to the right of Togata, wearing red overalls and a white blouse shirt with a small brown bag, was Eri. Suddenly, Mirio decided to prod his butt through the bush as Midoriya, Uraraka, and Asui yelled out to Eri. Here's a peach! Mirio joked, slightly muffled due to him still being in the bush. The girls ran over to Eri, Midoriya slightly behind. Uraraka and Su were melting due to how adorable they thought Eri looked. Oger was in a confused state, as he thought Eri was Mirio's daughter. Midoriya froze slightly, thinking back to the last time someone tried to link two people to each other as a family member. Completely unnoticed to the students, Aizawa appeared behind Eri and talked to Midoriya directly. The principal has given permission, Aizawa in his emotionless manner said to Midoriya. The student remembered what his teacher was referencing to. A few days after the defeat of Overhaul, Midoriya and Mirio spent time with Eri in the hospital after all the checks were done. They tried to get her to smile, but she revealed something that broke their hearts. She didn't know how to. That's when Midoriya had the idea. His class had just come up with a plan for the concert the night prior, and so he thought it would be a nice idea for Eri to watch them play. For her to experience the festival in all its glory. Mirio was all for the idea also. Once Aizawa mentioned that she had approval to see everything in the festival, Midoriya was relieved. He had to take this opportunity to get Eri to smile. As Eri got acquainted with the dance team, she hid behind Mirio's legs. She had never been with so many people in such a small space, at least from what she could remember. I wanted to take Eri around the campus and show her a preview of everything as well as meet Principal Nezu. Midoriya, would you like to come too? Midoriya was a little taken aback from Mirio's request. It seemed like he had recovered fully after the death scare both of them had. He held his smile, waiting for an answer. Midoriya glanced back at Mina and she lifted her arm, throwing up a thumbs up and her trademark smile. Just then the doors to the main dorm building opened. Kirishima burst through them, shouting to the dance team, until he saw the white-haired girl. Oh, it's Eri! Kirishima half yelled as she sprinted towards the group. You most probably don't remember me, but I was a part of the rescue group. So nice to see you here. Why don't we all have a break? Yamomo, prepare the tea. Ashido boisterously said. The two heroes in training and their special guest walked all the way around the campus. And one thing for sure was that it was pretty hectic. A lot of people were moving from place to place very quickly. Eri just observed as she tightly held on to Mirio's blazer. She was in awe of all the work that was going on. The trio bumped into multiple different groups. The third-year business students, Class 1B, which was somewhat unpleasant to the Monema's arrogant antics. Fortunately or unfortunately for Monema, Awase from Class 1B hit him in the head with a full home run swing of a wooden pole. After the small altercation, they set off to go to the equipment room where Nechire Hado was doing her preparations for the beauty pageant. Eri is astounded with how Nechire looked. It reminded her of an angel. Amachiki kneeled over with stomach pain due to the thought of performing or presenting himself in front of a large group like Nechire was going to. Next was the support course. As Midoriya walked in, he was greeted by the pink-haired inventor, Mei Hatsume. They talked for a little bit while she revealed her new baby until it started to shake aggressively and explode. Midoriya, Mirio, and Eri then rushed out to the hallway and towards the cafeteria. They sat and ate some food while they asked how she felt about the festival. I don't really know. Both Midoriya and Mirio let out a sigh. But there are a lot of different people working hard, so I wonder how it'll turn out. Both UA students looked at each other again and smiled with joy. That's what people call getting excited. Nezu interrupted them. He was sitting next to Midnight as they were finishing their lunch. Nezu continued to talk about the efforts of each class and year group to push forward and keep everyone happy. Midnight, however, interjected his speech. She explained that the police had gotten involved this time around and beef up the security. And because the security is a lot higher, if the alarm goes off, even if it's a false alarm, the police will have no other option but to shut the entire thing down. Midnight warned. However, we released Hound Dog on the ground, so any type of suspicious behavior will be caught instantly. Plus, Class 1A's performance is causing quite a stir in the teacher's lounge. Make sure you live your youth to their max. Eri asked Midoriya what he was going to be doing for the festival. He explained what a concert was and started to increase Eri's excitement for what Class 1A had to offer. It was just unfortunate that when Eri had to leave with Aizawa again, and Midoriya returned to his classroom, did he get the awful news. He learned that he wasn't on the dance team anymore, at least for half of the performance. He would have to carry Aoyama around and make him a living, breathing, moving disco ball for the rest of the performance. To say he was a little down was an understatement, but he quickly put it behind him and decided to do whatever it took. As long as Eri smiled at the end of the day, he was fine with doing any job. After a week of practicing, preparing, and reshuffling, the class felt pretty confident with the rehearsal. It was the night before the big show, and everyone was slightly on edge. Bakugo was still angry. This time he was mad at Kaminari for rushing the tempo, while the electricity quirk user defended himself by saying that Bakugo had added too many drum fills. Midoriya was on his phone going through videos and news clips until he accidentally tapped on a video. From his phone, a suave and sophisticated voice filtered out with a strange and quirky background song. He was talking about a certain brand of tea, one of his trademark traditions before he makes a video or commits a crime. Midoriya somewhat recognized the person in the video.
"What you watching there, Deku?"
Uraraka asked, leaning over the sofa with her head close to Midoriya's shoulder while holding a cup and a saucer of tea.
I just clicked on this video accidentally. I was just checking to see if anything interesting showed up and saw this."
Midoriya stumbled through his words, going red and trying to focus more on his phone rather than the girl that was almost on top of him.
"Who is that?"
Uraraka continued questioning. She leaned off the sofa and walked to the right of the sofa. Midoriya regained his composure to answer her second question.
"I don't know exactly who he is. He's some sort of villain vigilante. It's amazing how he keeps posting these videos and still doesn't get caught. But most of the comments are horrible and he literally has no likes on his video. He isn't as big as some other users, but he's gaining a small following. Sounds a little scary, but we shouldn't worry. We're all heroes here."
Uraraka chirped, once again flustering Midoriya as she got slightly closer. Many miles away, in a small, dark apartment, only illuminated by a blue light, a white-haired man looking over his laptop, figuring out his next plan of action, his next big video. A warning for all heroes to prepare as a great wave is coming, and no one would see it coming. Morning struck, and the students were making their final preparations. Everything was going smoothly. The band had tuned their instruments, the effects team were trying to get used to the timing with the band, and the dance team was ironing out the last details of the choreography. That was when Aoyama got Midoriya's attention.
"Midoriya, I believe the rope is frayed. It's proof of our friendship, no?"
Aoyama displayed the roll, and it was at breaking point.
"Yeah, wait, no. It's really dangerous. Maybe I'll ask Yoyorozu to help."
Midoriya walked over to the vice president, but she, however, hasn't digested her breakfast long enough to be able to create enough rope for the performance. Midoriya looked at the time and noticed time. It was 8:15 in the morning.
"Hey, don't most doors open at 9? And our performance is at 10. How are you going to get the rope and get back on time?"
Kaminari queried.
"There's a convenience store not too far away from here. It's around 15 minutes from here, so I should be able to get there and back with a few minutes to spare before our final rehearsal."
Midoriya replied back. With that said, Midoriya then paced through the hallways until he was out of Ida's vision, and then ran towards the store. He wanted to make it there and back with more than time. This was his shot to make finally Eri smile, and he wasn't going to throw this opportunity away. He rushed into the store and went from aisle to aisle, trying to find some rope. He couldn't find any, but he noticed some ingredients that kept playing through his mind. He was talking with Eri and Mirio about the festival when she was still in the hospital. He explained all the different sweets and food while she looked dumbfounded. She then asked what a candied apple was. It slightly broke Midoriya's heart that she had never even heard of such a staple sweet, since she had never taken a part in anything like a festival before. Midoriya then found some sugar and some apples and bought them. He then ran to the next convenience store and found the rope that he needed. He left the store at around 8:25. It should give him plenty of time, but he still ran to get back to school. As he turned the corner just outside the store, he saw an old brown house next to it. Nonetheless, he kept running until he almost bumped into a tall, white-haired man. He was wearing a beige trench coat, sunglasses, and a bowler hat with a mask and walking stick. Next to him was a short lady with a violet poncho, white summer hat, and sunglasses too.
"Oh, sorry."
Midoriya immediately apologized. "Please be careful. You were about to ruin the aftertaste of the Golden Tip Imperial." The stranger spoke. Although his voice was calm and collected, inside his head the man was freaking out. His cover was almost blown. The couple then started to walk away from Midoriya until he remembered that Yoyorozu had made some tea of the same variety as the one that the stranger mentioned, as well as an offhanded comment about the house behind being a cafe or something. What ensued was a small altercation between the two. Each one tried to read between the lines and trying to figure out each other's identities. Midoriya was concerned that the white-haired man's voice sounded very familiar, while the gentleman started to notice that if he knew a friend that made the tea, that he was from an elite school, and the only elite school around was UA. Midoriya thought back to the video. He was now concerned. He remembered the line that stuck out from the video. He based the type of tea he drank to how big the job was, and he also remembered how the tea that Uraraka was drinking the night before was a rare tea that was hard to get. It was called Golden Tips Imperial.
Now if you'll excuse us.
The stranger started to walk away and took a few steps before.
Please, wait!
Midoriya pressed. He clenched his fist around his 2 plastic bag handles.
Is this like a ritual for you?
The stranger had turned around slowly, and as Midoriya finished his question, he lifted his hand and started to remove his face mask. Midoriya lowered himself slightly and placed his bags on the floor. Midnight's words had flashed through Midoriya's head in a split second. He knew that this man was going to attack UA. He knew that would end the festival. He knew he had to stop him.
Ritual, what are you talking about?
Questioned the trenchcoat man. His mask and glasses were now off, revealing him as Gentle Criminal, the man Midoriya saw the night prior.
Just...
Midoriya started.
La Brava, start filming.
Order Gentle Criminal.
Stop it already.
Midoriya exasperated.
Please stop. Don't you dare make a move on my school.
The time was 8:33 a.m. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in this story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your read knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we got a third channel called We the Celestial Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being, we only accept members 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be. Whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits, we're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day.